it's not that difficult to see that, money and possessions aren't everything. They're important. You have to eat, you have to stay healthy, you need security and so on. But so, where you can really guarantee satisfaction, peace of mind, and happiness is when you develop your mind, which means developing certain qualities which we already have to some extent already. So, like feelings of compassion for others, loving kindness, wanting others to experience peace and happiness, freedom from pain and anxiety and war and all that. So the more you develop those qualities, the more you yourself also experience peace of mind and fulfillment, satisfaction, the more your confidence grows in yourself. So my story. Well, I was at Lancaster University and I started going to Monastery Institute in Lake District, South Lake District, not far from Ulverston, where Stan Laurel was born. This is how it started actually. There was a German monk, student of the Lama's, Tibetan, who was coming down to Lancaster to teach the Buddhist group. So I started going to his talks. And yeah, he was a very good teacher and inspired me. What initially drew me to Buddhism? Well, it was the influence of a friend initially. So he was a student of parapsychology and we were on our way from the campus to attend this party at a friend's house. Now, that evening I got very, very, very intoxicated. And that was the last time. Because Dita, he was one who was teaching us, and he mentioned about not drinking. I think he talked about Buddhists not drinking, but he probably wouldn't have said that because that's not true. There are Buddhists who drink for sure. But anyway, so I just gave up drinking. I gave up smoking more or less immediately. I was also a bit of, not a heavy smoker, but I did smoke. And so, yeah, so anyway, what really got me was when he started talking about compassion, explaining that when you see the suffering of others and that makes you feel sad, that was all I understood about compassion at that time for sure. Of course, it can be much stronger and deeper than that. But anyway, when he talked about compassion and talked about how compassion is when you see the suffering of others and you don't like that. You feel bad about that. Then that's a good thing, talked about how it's a good thing. That was it really. And that got me going up to Monastery Institute. So that was in 77, I think, 77. Then 78, the Lamas came. So this was Zong Rinpoche with Lama Yeshe, Lama Zopa. So I attended to that series of teachings and courses with them in the summer of 78, and by then I'd moved into the center straight after my finals were over. Moved into the center, attended all that, and so after that I did a short retreat that winter. It was a commitment from Lama Yeshe to do a Lama Tsongkhapa retreat. And during that retreat I decided I wanted to become a monk, which I did in 79. And then full ordination also actually the first ordination, the novice ordination, that was actually in France with Lama Zopa. I wanted to take the full ordination in 1980. And so, the Yeshes, there was a couple of us that wanted to do that. So the Yeshes told us, well, Rinpoche is coming, so you can do it with him. So this is somebody I'd never met before. But anyway, they were my teachers, and they said that he could do it. So great, So I received my full ordination from him, and that's actually a big thing. Then basically we all moved down to, many of us anyway, moved down to Nalanda Monastery in France. So that was 82, 83, Gente Choken. Gente Chok I already knew from Manjusha Institute. He came in 79, I think, 79. Then he was asked to go to Sera to be the abbot of Serge. So he was appointed by His Holiness. So I went with him there in 93. And I was there until 2004 or 5. And then he took up with this invitation, he accepted an invitation to go to the land of Medicine Buddha. And I went with him to serve as a translator. So he left in, I can't remember now, 2008, and I stayed on. So that's where I'd been